Now, VCY America presents Worldview Radio with Brannon House.
And welcome. Glad you are with us. We are going to have on Colonel Rob Maness. We're going to have on Aaron Lavarco. We're going to have on Annie Cyrus. We're calling right now Steve Haggard, State Representative Steve Haggard. We're calling him right now. We'll see if we can get Steve Haggard on. Testing 1, 2, 3, calling Steve Haggard. If you're listening on the Huron, South Dakota station or the one in Sioux Falls, or if you know Steve, let him know Brannon House is trying to get you on so we can all have a great big party and celebrate the removal of Kristi Noem. Woo-hoo! Yes, happy day. What makes me want to break into that song? Happy day. It's a happy day because this lady I don't think should have ever been picked to begin with. We knew and had her number when she was the governor of South Dakota. I was a, I was a team player, folks. And I didn't go around telling and saying too much negative about Kristi Noem. I was like, all right, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Just hold your tongue. See, I can hold my tongue when I have to. Hold your tongue. Just be nice. It is what it is. But I was not happy when he picked her. I think this lady is trouble with a capital T. Corey Lewandowski. Have you guys done any homework on Corey Lewandowski, the guy that runs around with her? I mean, come on. And then, when she was governor, that's when she was running these commercials about South Dakota, and she had to star in these as a contractor, like she was wearing construction gear, and then she's wearing a cowboy outfit, and then she comes over to DHS and she's wearing, Kevlar vest and holding an AR-15 or something. I think it was pointed towards some dude's head, but that was a lot of controversy. I mean, this was like playtime Barbie. It's like this lady, I think, is all about herself. Come on. You're supposed to be a servant of the people, not trying to be the next reality TV show. And it seems to me you've got enough going on there that it could be a reality TV show. I won't tell you everything I've been told. Woo! And we knew when she was governor, because Steve Haggard came on here as the former Speaker of the House, still state rep, I believe, but former Speaker of the House, and said, look, this lady didn't do what she claimed to have done, taking credit for when it came to COVID-19. Let me tell you what she was doing when it came to COVID-19. And then the CO2 pipelines running through South Dakota. Didn't she have that CO2 pipeline company help underwrite and sponsor her inauguration? That's what I was told on camera. It's in our archive by South Dakotans, including some people that are in the state legislature. It's quite amazing the number of people in South Dakota that have this lady's number. And God bless President Trump. I told you I'd praise him when he does great, disagree when I don't like something. Great move, Mr. Trump, President Trump. Thank you. Thank you for getting rid of this controversy, this drama we don't need. I don't know. They're going to move her to some job. And did you see the hearings yesterday on all the money being spent to run TV commercials? Apparently featuring her. When you get up the ire of Senator Kennedy, you're in trouble. When I saw Senator Kennedy questioning her, then I'm thinking this is not going to end well for her. I think she's going to be finding herself in a new position. Because Senator Kennedy's like, you spent this much? Who approved this for you to be in these commercials? I'm like, I think she's just trying to up her name ID so she can run for the next thing she wants to go for. That's my opinion. She's welcome to come on the program, say otherwise, but I don't think she will. President Trump has put out on social media, I'm pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Mark Wayne Mullen, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security effective March 31st, 2026. He's the guy that goes around bouncing the tennis ball or something, right? He bounces a red, is it red or is it different colors? But it's a rubber ball. He walks around bouncing that and bouncing it off the walls, if you've seen him. The current secretary, says President Trump, Kristi Noem, who served us well, I don't know about that, and has numerous and spectacular results, especially on the border, will be moving to the Special Envoy for the Shield of Americas, our new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere we're announcing on Saturday. in Doral, Florida. I thank Kristi for her service at Homeland. Serving for 10 years in the United States House of Representatives, 3 years in the Senate, Mark Wayne has done a tremendous job representing the wonderful people of Oklahoma, where I won all 77 out of 77 counties in 2016, 2020, and 24. A MAGA warrior and former undefeated professional MMA fighter. I did not know that. Mark Wayne truly gets along well with people. Interesting. That's an interesting thing he threw in there. Mark Wayne truly gets along with people. I don't know. I would be reading between the lines on that if I were you guys. And who knows the wisdom and courage required to advance America First agenda. Yeah, he's got wisdom. Wisdom, Kristi. Are you listening, Kristi? The guy replacing you has wisdom. I think something you lack. As the only Native American in the Senate, Mark Wayne, really? Wait a minute. No, I got to correct the president. He's not the only Native American. We know that we have Pocahontas. Pocahontas is in the U.S. Senate too. All right. Well, the only truly Native American in the Senate. Mark Wayne is a fantastic advocate. I'm surprised he didn't put in parenthesis, not counting Pocahontas. That would have been hilarious. Mark Wayne will work tirelessly to keep our border secure, stop migrant crime, murderers, and other criminals from illegally entering our country, end the scourge of illegal drugs, and make America safe again. Mark Wayne will make a spectacular Secretary of Homeland Security. Thank you for your attention to this matter, end quote. And I bet you he doesn't get his handbag stolen, because I bet you he doesn't carry a handbag. But think about that. The Secretary of Homeland Security couldn't even secure her own handbag when out to dinner. Uh-oh. Again, I'm telling you, I held my tongue when that happened, but I wanted to use that line then. The Secretary of Homeland Security can't even secure her own handbag while out to dinner. It got stolen from her. Wow. She's very conscientious about security. I mean, come on, ladies, you guys probably sit on the handles of your handbag. You probably put the handles of your handbag underneath the chair leg, right? So that if they grab it, it ain't going anywhere because you're sitting on the chair. It's not going anywhere, and you've looped it around the bottom of your chair. Maybe that's what you've done, or the back of your chair. Apparently, she couldn't even secure her own purse. But the drama, I'll be so glad to be done with that. That was great news to hear today. All right, I finally have gotten about, a year of venting on that out of my system. Whew. That feels good to get rid of that. Okay, there it is. New York Post. Trump fires Kristi Noem in first cabinet shakeup of second term, taps senator for replacement. Did we get a hold of Congressman Hagar? What'd he say? Oh, we are going to get State Representative Hagar on the broadcast. I wonder if he's as celebratory as I am right now. Because remember, he came on the program telling us, you better look out for this gal. He warned us about her. I think President Trump should put a couple of us in the vetting process. We could have really helped him with a few of these people. I wonder what Corey Landowski is going to go do now. By the way, had dinner last night with Roger Stone after he was on my broadcast, Brandon House Live. Did you catch that? We talked about his upcoming book that's 98% done on the attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan. Very interesting, by the way. Did you know that, and we played the clip again from ABC News, March 31st, 1981, where ABC News reported that Hinckley's brother was supposed to have dinner that night with Neil Bush. I believe it was Neil Bush. We played the clip last night. I believe that's the son it was. What are the odds that Hinckley's brother was going to have dinner with Neil Bush? Now, we've been reporting on that for years, and I played the clip last night. I'm like, oh, Roger, I have that clip. We've saved it, so in case it ever goes missing. Why are you laughing at that, Logan?
Maybe Dolly can replace her.
Maybe Dolly could place Kristi Noem. Well, she's laying at my feet right now. She's very good at security. She's laying at my feet this very moment. My foot is touching her right now. She likes to lay on my foot so she can go to sleep and know that I'm still here. So she's pretty well qualified for security, I'll tell you that. I don't know what she would do, but other than alert me that you're coming toward me. But last night, Roger told us about his new book. Did you guys know that, and Roger is not done with the book because Roger says, I'm like, documentation. Did you know that Kristi Noem. Did you know that, I got her on my brain today, don't I? Did you know that Hinckley and the man that murdered John Lennon were reportedly at the same training camp in Laos? Can someone look up the name of the guy that murdered John Lennon? I remember that night. I remember the night that happened. That was December 8th, I believe, 1980. Now, I had to look up the date last night, December 8th, 1980. But I remember the night it happened. My parents had some folks over from church. And it was the talk among some of the people there that John Lennon had been murdered. So I remember that night. Obviously, I remember the day that Reagan was shot. We were living in Northern Virginia. I had just gone to his inauguration as a kid. And isn't that interesting that Roger tells us last night that the man that murdered John Lennon and Hinckley, he says, were at the same training camp in Laos. Now, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear that? CIA. And the other thing I said, Roger, was that some kind of MK Ultra program? MK Ultra? Roger had a little bit to say about that. Yes, maybe that is the case, Mr. House. He told us that there was two shooters, not just Hinckley, but there appeared to be a second shooter from up on top. I said, are you telling me? And apparently another reporter saw it and reported on it, but thought it was just Secret Service overwatch. I said, Roger, did the bullet actually ricochet off the limousine as we've been told or not? He said, I don't think so. And he said it was a special kind of bullet and a special kind of gun, the kind that was being held up during the church hearing. Do you remember the church hearing when that gun was being held up? That's a special kind of gun for assassinations. He says the doctors couldn't find the bullet. And then one guy did a physical probe and says, I think I found it, went in and grabbed it. He says he interviewed the doctor for the book. I said, you interviewed the actual doctor? I don't think I asked him that on camera. I asked him that later at dinner. I said, you actually interviewed the actual doctor? He said, yes. Isn't that interesting? We also got into MK Ultra and the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy and a few other things. We got into a lot last night. With Roger Stone. You'll find it at worldviewtube.com. All right, joining me now, we got to get rolling, got so many guests lined up, is Colonel Rob Maness. Colonel, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Brandon.
All right, I said to Roger Stone last night over dinner, I said, Roger, President Trump has the opportunity to go down as one of the greatest presidents when it comes to the Middle East. If this campaign, this operation, I'm going to call it a war. I don't care what other people say. I think it's a war. You're blowing up things and destroying things. That makes it a war. And we didn't start this war. We didn't start this fire. It was already turning, and it was already burning. And Iran did it. And President Trump's going to be the first president to end this with these people, it looks like. And I said, Roger, if President Trump is able to succeed at this level, and this is how it stops, he'll go down as one of the greatest presidents when it comes to the Middle East. We'll get the Colonel's response.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab, and here you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
You're watching Worldview Tube, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon House.
All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. Worldview Radio, our website, worldviewradio.com. I'm in a little bit better mood today, aren't I, Logan? Been a little cranky, to be honest with you guys, but I've been in such excruciating pain. My pain is down probably by, I would say, 60%, 70%. And thanks for all the prayers and all the advice. And I have a neuromuscular therapist. I didn't realize that was what she was expert in. I knew she was an expert at hurting me. I knew that much, making me cry like a little girl, the way she was twisting me like a pretzel. But it has, you know, you have to do this to get these knots to get undone, quit pinching these nerves. And she's Venezuelan, and she doesn't speak very good English, but we get through it. And I said, I've never had anyone treat me like this. What is your expertise? And she tried telling me she is a neuromuscular trained expert. And it took a little bit to figure out. I thought she said nuclear weapons or something. I thought, oh boy. But I finally figured out with her beautiful Venezuelan accent what it was she was trying to say. And this has been something, I've never had treatment like this. She clearly is different than, I mean, her training came shining through. And so just for everyone, because my wife's like, you know, we got like 100 messages just yesterday alone on you. And I said, isn't that nice? People actually care. Which I knew you did, so thank you. But just to let everybody that does care know, and all the haters that are listening that don't care, because I'm sure there's a few of you out there that tune in, like the Islamists, the jihadists that tune in. To all of those who do care, I would say the pain is probably 60, 70% decreased. Yeah, so I'm very, very thankful for that. So yes, I'm in a pretty good mood today because I'm not like in chronic pain. So there you go. All right, joining me again is Colonel. We got started and the computer took it away. Colonel, I said to Roger at dinner last night, Roger, I think President Trump could go down as one of the greatest presidents when it comes to the Middle East if this campaign ends up neutering Iran and stabilizing the Middle East. Of course, I also said, Roger, it's preparing the stage for Bible prophecy to be fulfilled, if you want to discuss that. But he might go down as one of the greatest presidents when it comes to the Middle East if this campaign ends as successfully as it has for the last 100+ hours. What are your thoughts, Colonel?
Well, if he can eliminate the scourge of the Islamo-Nazis that have been running Iran since 1979 and have killed thousands of Americans and tens of thousands of human beings that didn't deserve it, I think he will go down as right up there, probably number 2 behind George Washington.
Wow, isn't that something? Well, and you know, that's the thing about us here. I was going to say, that's the thing about us, President Trump. That's the thing about us, Colonel Manus. When we agree, we say so. When praise is worthy, we give it. When we don't like things, we don't. We say so. And Ronald Reagan, I love that line. Someone that agrees with us 80% of the time is not a 20% enemy, right? And that's what our job is. And I think that's something that a lot of presidents, they didn't mind the media. If the media was just honest and fair, okay? Don't lie. Don't make stuff up. But if you're going to be a legitimate media that holds the president accountable with facts, most presidents appreciate that. They know that's their job. They understand that that's the job of media. But today we have a media that lies, that makes stuff up. We were talking about Richard Nixon last night. And I said, well, Richard Nixon was actually a really good president. And my kids were shocked to hear me say that. And I said, oh, yeah, because all you guys know is the lies. I said, the more someone is trashed by the media and the, quote, historians, it's likely he's really a good guy. And my kids all said around the dinner table, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So I don't think President Trump minds a media that is fair and honest and agrees with him and sometimes disagrees, as long as it's based in some fact, right?
Oh, absolutely. Criticism, I think, look, every human being likes to hear the good stuff and is kind of put off by getting criticized. But if it's constructive criticism, especially by his own side, I think the president, I'm sure he takes it to heart and he listens to it. But very rarely does that happen. I mean, you see media across the spectrum, other than independent types like our outlet here, that just outright lie. I just saw a post before I came on it. Some media person said they were in the third row of the Sec Wars briefing yesterday morning, and when he said that about the 6 Americans that have been killed in action, look, it's a tragedy, and sometimes tragedies happen in wartime. This lying media person said the whole room gasped and were insulted and all kinds of stuff. And it took another independent media person that's now on the press corps there. Thank God Sean Parnell and Secretary Hegseth did this to come in and say, no, this is an outright lie. Nobody responded that way. We appreciate the secretary being concerned about the loss of the lives of our own American military service members. That's the kind of thing that happens today. And that happens more often than not, unfortunately, with the people that have the biggest voices.
Indeed. So how do you think overall, Colonel, how do you think this campaign is going? How concerned are you about the thousands and thousands of drones that Iran has? What's your analysis, but also any concerns you might have?
Well, take a look at from the first question. Let's take that first. Look, on the first day, the Iranians were shooting all kinds of missiles and drones. The second day, it decreased. The third day, it decreased. Every day, it gets less and less and less. That's because we are being more and more effective at destroying their missile and drone capability. So that's actually a positive indicator right there. Number two, we are sending B-52s and B-1 bombers that are not stealthy aircraft deep into Iranian territory to bomb their ballistic missile production and storage capabilities, which are in the mountains deep into Iran, away from Western countries. For that purpose, that tells you that we have completely destroyed their air defense system. Iranian officials are admitting openly that their military forces are not in contact with them, and they're firing weapons and shooting missiles at targets that they are not approving on a case-by-case basis. They are hitting pre-planned last stand targets because they can't talk or communicate with their military units, and they're even apologizing to some of the Gulf Arab states because of those, but they're the ones that approved that target list in the first place. But the positive indicator is that we have completely disrupted and destroyed a lot of their command, control, and communication systems. They can't even talk to their military units. Those are big positive indicators that we are doing what the president said, and the Secretary Rubio and Secretary Hegseth have all said, and that is what? Destroy their ballistic missile capability, destroy their Navy. And we are systematically doing that. And along the way, we're going to go after their drones, all their military capabilities that they have to harass their neighbors and kill innocent people. We are going to systematically destroy it. And we're, 5 days now into at least a 5-week planned air and naval campaign. And we mean business. I think they figured that out when our attack submarine torpedoed one of their ships out off of Sri Lanka that thought they might be safe. Just remember, Sri Lanka is only about 1,100 miles from Diego Garcia, a major strategic air base and Navy base and Space Force base, by the way, in the Indian Ocean. So that ship could have been going anywhere. And I hear a lot of people saying, you can't ambush ships like that. That's unfair. Well, look, war is not fair. It wasn't fair that the mullahs started this war on us in 1979. And you so rightly said, this president is taking action to end this war, and it is a war. They started this war, and it's a war, and we should fight it like it's a war, not like it's some policing action. And
I'm a little shocked at one or two people that are calling for the president to be impeached. One of the individuals I like a lot, I interview often, I agree with him on a lot of key things, but I was a little shocked to see him saying the president needs to be impeached for this.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Even without all of the precedent that we've got, this president's responsible for defending America and for defending Americans and for defending our vital national interest. And it is in the vital national interest for this regime to be taken apart systematically. And you know what? As Secretary Rubio said earlier today, when he was asked about arming the Kurds, he said, we're not arming the Kurds, but you never know what the Israelis might be up to. Look, there's going to be some ground activity. It's not going to be the United States that does that. This president understands that he's not going to get us into a forever war. He's not going to get us into a ground invasion and occupation like we did in Iraq and like we chose to do after we won in Afghanistan and ruined our victory there. He understands that's why he was reelected by young Americans and old Americans like me that have fought in these wars and have had our friends die and our families broken up and our families hurt and our country hurt. He understands that there is no evidence, in spite of what these folks are saying out there about a ground invasion, there is no evidence of the forces needed that have been even moved from the United States to be put in place to do a ground invasion by the United States of America and go into a forever war like that, because this president, I don't believe, is going to do that.
What would a ground war with the Kurds look like? What would that look like?
Well, my assumption, and war planning is based on assumptions, my assumption is that these Kurds, there are Kurds inside Iran and there are Kurds in northern Iraq, that they are politically, ideologically aligned enough where they could link up together and use their military capability and their knowledge of the terrain and where the forces are. They would link up with the existing resistant movement organizations that are inside Iran itself, get them properly armed up, and then start taking on, especially the Iranian Republican Guard Corps ground units. But remember, in warfare, especially ground warfare, troops have to mass in order to attack something. And if the IRGC starts massing, who's going to see that? Ours and the Israeli intelligence systems are going to pick that up immediately, and that becomes a big, fat, juicy target for air power and naval power if they're in the vicinity of the Navy. And that is a way you can destroy the ground forces without doing an invasion by us.
Closing comment. Are you hearing anything from Russia or China? Are they pretty much staying out of this?
They are silent as church mice. And you know why? Because China is now boxed in from an oil and gas perspective, Brandon. Nearly 25% of their oil came from Venezuela and from Iran, and the United States president currently holds the leverage over all that oil. And China's Xi is going to be meeting with President Trump in the near future, so they're staying silent and they're not taking any action. And I don't expect to see them do that. The Russians were called to ask for help, it's my understanding, and they politely said, our defense agreement has nothing to do with what's happening to you right now, and politely declined, because the Russians are busy in their own backyard. That's their vital national interest in Ukraine. You've heard me say it a million times, that the Russians are busy there. That's their focus, and they're very limited in their global reach these days because of that.
Excellent. RobManus.com. His broadcast each and every day, 2 p.m. Central. And he's on Worldview Tube, and he's on RobManus.com. You can follow him there, RobManus.com. Retired colonel, expert inside the Pentagon in an area that very few people ever go. This is totally in his wheelhouse. This is what he did. And Colonel, thank you for your service, and thank you for being one of our great military and national intelligence and strategic military operations experts. Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you, sir.
Colonel Rob Manus, RobManus.com. We'll come back. We're going to hear from Annie Cyrus, Aaron on the ground, and Steve Haggard. Don't go away.
Consumers often ask, what should I expect when I take the Bella Grace elixir? And the answer's varied. It really depends on what your health and wellness needs are. I would consider this as your foundational core product for a whole range of health and wellness issues. Let me give you a few examples. If you're a little bit older and you have some joint health issues, some problems with mobility and discomfort, the elixir is going to be your best friend. If you have some skin health issues, wrinkles, hydration, aging, all of those elements are going to be benefited from the elixir, including age spots. Now, if you're in a younger demographic, maybe visual health is where you need some assistance. Eye fatigue, dry eyes, all of those are going to be benefited by the elixir. It's a core product because it benefits so many.
All right, let's go to Annie Cyrus. But first, again, here's the headline from the New York Post. Trump fires Kristi Noem in first cabinet shakeup of second term, taps senator for replacement. Maybe some people don't like the word fired, but I don't know. What else is it, folks? Come on. She was fired from DHS. I mean, what'd she do? Resign? I'm tired. I'm worn out. It's been a long career. I'm done. No, I think she was asked to leave. Okay? People want to put it in a nice way. Put it as nice as you want. I agree with the headline from the New York Post. Trump fires Kristi Noem. And well done. Thank you, Mr. President. Now, let's go to Annie Cyrus before we go to Aaron Lavarco on the ground in Israel, and then State Representative Steve Haggard, who was the Speaker of the House at one time in South Dakota and had done programs telling us and warning us about Kristi. Let's go to Annie. Annie, I, of course, am a little concerned about who's going to take over. I don't want to see MEK in there. I think if President Trump allows this process to take place, is successful at this, like I said over dinner last night, he could go down as one of the greatest presidents in world history when it comes to the Middle East. But the one issue we have to do is to make sure that the Iranian people pick this next leader, and it cannot be MEK, because many Iranians, including former MEK warriors like Ray, who fought for 18 years with them, said it would be worse than the last regime. But if he can do this and allow a transition of the people to pick their new government, he could go down as a great president when it comes to the Middle East. But I think he's going to have to do what I'm saying here. Would you agree with that?
I would most certainly agree with that. Yes, Brannon. But as it has been reported by not one, not two, almost 10 outlets today, including Politico and Reuters and New York Times, President Trump has been very clear this morning that he's going to play a major role in picking the next leader of Iran. He's making it very clear that apparently his claim is, in order not to have to do this again, Trump has to play a role in picking the next leader. So with that being said, and going back to months or maybe almost close to a year of me on air, I highly doubt President Trump, by personal choice and by his history of America, is going to let Iranian people do that. And I will repeat, no, it's not going to happen. They won't be able to install MEK or anyone else for that matter. Now we're talking about courts coming in. Nobody else is going to be able to take that position. But as you said, it would be better if President Trump allows Iranians to do it. But I don't think he will. He won't.
But you're saying that the people on the ground are not going to allow it. Right? No, you haven't. But you're saying that the people of Iran, they're not going to allow MEK to come back into power or into power. Is that what you're saying?
Not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm working on a piece. I'm due to being very exhausted. I'm taking off air a couple of days, but I'm working on a piece on my Substack to explain to people how this, even celebrating the approval of Kurds going in and being our boots on the ground, is a terrible idea. It shouldn't even be entertained. And I understand Trump didn't say we're going to arm them, but Trump did say on an interview with Reuters that he does welcome the idea and he thinks it's an awesome idea if they're willing to do it. It's not, Mr. President. Again, I don't know who's in your ear, but try to study the history. Let's learn something from our own mistakes in Middle East. I have great friends who are Kurds, but the Kurd militia groups, the known ones, the ones that are going to step in, are either leftist separatist or leftist socialist by ideology.
You're talking about, just so the audience understands, you're talking about the Kurds. Your beautiful accent, I think, is causing people not to understand. You're saying Kurds.
Well, it's your accent more than
it's my accent.
Yes, they are the Kurds.
It's my accent. Okay.
They're not cured.
Okay,
Kurds,
tomato, yes. Tomato. Okay, I get it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. But letting them go in.
It's your accent. I love that. That's a good line. All right.
Well,
so you're talking about the Kurds.
It's always the American accent because it's not Iran, it's Iran, it's not Iraq, it's Iraq, it's not Qatar, it's Qatar, it's not, It's not Kurds, it's Kurds, but yes. But the point is, if this happens inside Iran, Iranians inside Iran are not going to look at this as a liberation anymore. It's going to become an invasion to them. There's a not as bloody history, not as bad of a history with MEK, but there's a pretty dark history between the Komoleh, which is the main militia group in northern Iraq. There's a pretty bloody history between them and Iranians as well. So we got to be very careful who we're assigning to this operation.
Yep. Boy, Annie, you really have the bases covered, and you do a great job. We're so glad you're on our team, and you're covering it all there at liveuptofreedom.com, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Thank you for sitting in while I try to get a little time with my wife for our 35th wedding anniversary, but also I was forced off the air. So regardless of that, I can't sit and do TV with the amount of pain I've been in. It's a lot better, thankfully. But thank you so much for sitting in. I think you're also going to sit in Friday night, right?
Correct. And thank you for trusting me to sit in for you. And yes, I will join your audience tomorrow night for Brown House Live.
Perfect. We appreciate you. Thank you, Annie.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brandon.
By the way, Annie's going to be one of the keynote speakers at our upcoming National Worldview Weekend Conference at the Waukesha Expo Center, Friday night, October 23rd, Saturday, October 24th. We'll have Andy Woods, Patrick Wood, Annie Cyrus, Alex Newman, Sharam Hadian. There's more. We've invited more. We'll be announcing more. It is free, but you do need a ticket. worldviewtube.com/events, worldviewtube.com/events to reserve your seat. People are asking about hotels. We're not doing like, hey, here's where the hotel is. You guys everybody today with the internet can pick a hotel. So just find a hotel you like in the Waukesha area. I would say stay in Waukesha. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dalton. I would say stay in Brookfield or Waukesha. And I think you'll be great. It's just like when you come to Memphis, stay in Collierville or Germantown. Stay in, I think, Brookfield or Waukesha, and you'll be in great areas, easy access, and lots of places to have breakfast or whatever, and get to the Expo Center. So, but yeah, no, we're not putting out hotels. You guys can pick your own hotels, and other than that, get your free ticket, but get your seat, worldviewtube.com/events. Let's go real quick before we go to Steve Haggard. Let's go to our reporter on the ground in Israel. While I was at dinner last night after Brandon House Live, Aaron texted me and he said, pray for us. We're being hammered. His actual text was, please pray. My city, Natana, is taking a pounding right now in bomb shelters. More sirens. Came up, went back, came up, went back. Aaron, he joins us now. Aaron, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, Brennan. Good, thank you. It was a rough night. Being any time of the day, getting those sirens go right through you is not pleasant. But during the night, it was extra intense, and the tiredness and the fatigue, and they just kept coming in barrages. So it was very, very difficult. But we have fantastic security. Our boys, our IDF are just working day and night. So proud of them, so blessed. And we know that prayers from literally millions of believers around the world, they've got to make a difference. And so I believe that, Moses, Aaron, and Ur, when Moses dropped his arms, they were losing. When he lifted up his arms, or rather when Aaron and Ur lifted up his arms, they were winning. That's powerful. So we thank all of those people that stand and pray for us, and we're winning. We're making incredible grounds, and right now, Brandon, it's really, really intensifying on our northern border. We are smashing Beirut to pieces. We are penetrating ground southern Lebanon. We are going to be occupying.
Now tell our audience, Aaron, why? Tell our audience why. Wait. We thought this was with Iran. Explain to those maybe who don't understand. Why are you all of a sudden going after Lebanon?
Well, because this Iranian regime, not only are they controlling and persecuting their own people, but they are attacking Israel, but not themselves. They are using these proxies, including Hamas, including Islamic Jihad, including the Houthis, who, by the way, the leader has said they're seriously thinking of joining in now down in the south, but in the north, Hezbollah, who are not the main populated people in Lebanon, but they are the most powerful people because they've been equipped by the Iranian regime. If anyone doesn't know, Hezbollah, which means party of God, their God, not our God, they have been paid, they are being paid and supplied by the Iranian regime. They have decided they're going to join in the fight. They opened fire on our northern border, just like they did on October the 8th, after the tragedy of October the 7th. So they are a massive threat to our northern border. But this time it's different. We were waiting for them. We already had 100,000 reservists on our border waiting. And the moment they struck that first missile, Brandon, we were in. Our jets, our underground, our fighters on the mountains, the Golani, they have been firing, and man, they are penetrating hard and fast. And in the same way, what happened with Syria, when the Syrian civil war broke out, our troops moved in very, very quickly. So we have now penetrated in some of that land in Syria. We're doing the same in Lebanon. We're actually taking over more land. Instead of getting land taken over, the same in Gaza, 53% of Gaza. We've now got the whole of Mount Hermon up in the north. Now we're taking over Lebanon. So,
okay, how much of Lebanon are you going to take? And now, of course, I can just hear even some America First MAGA people who are not Zionists like us saying, well, here you go. This is the Greater Israel Project. They're taking over more land. How much land are you going to take from Lebanon? And will you guys hold it as a buffer? Is that what you're going to do?
Brandon, they are right. This is the Greater Israel, but it's not our government's vision. It's God's vision, because that's what he says in his word. So putting that aside for now, listen, I don't know how much our government and our military are planning. The more that this war is unfolding, the more I see this has been planned for a long time. So they know how much, but at the moment, everything south of the Litani River, which is probably about 20 miles, we have already moved into. The big question for me is what's going to happen with Beirut? Because as I said, we're pounding it. By tomorrow morning, they're expecting some really major damage there. But this is a zero tolerance. The roaring lion has not only been woken up, but it's roaring. And this is amazing to see. This is the strength of the Israeli army with the help of God.
Amen. Amen. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go away. Studies have shown America's water supply is not safe. It is filled with toxins and chemicals. Go look it up. This is fact. Fact check me. And then I'll offer you this solution. Worldviewwater.net. Take a look at this list. This water purifier removes all kinds of harmful toxins like lead, fluoride, chlorine, arsenic, pesticides, bacteria, and pharmaceuticals, and more. This is the water I give to my 3 dogs. I drink it every day. I have one of the filters in my kitchen, under the kitchen sink, and then I have one on my shower. Do you know how much your skin absorbs of water when you're in the shower each and every day? Protect yourself and your body. Remain healthy. Eat good food. Drink purified, clean water. One of the most powerful water filters available in America. WorldviewWater.net. That's WorldviewWater.net. Again, tell your family and friends about it. In fact, maybe even give this as a gift to some of your family and friends, particularly those of you who have children and grandchildren. WorldviewWater.net.
News is moving faster than ever, and so
All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. Aaron, hold right there, Aaron. I want to bring in right now, don't go anywhere, Aaron. I want to bring in Steve Haggard, State Representative Steve Haggard. He was also the Speaker of the House in South Dakota. He was one of the gentlemen in the room the night that guy from Saudi Arabia came in, filming his Quran and had his weapons, and then went out to the car and made 2 more videos, brandishing 5 weapons, 2 semi-automatics, and 1,200 rounds, and threatening us. Steve was in the room that night and was one of the guys that came to our defense, talking with the Attorney General, who I think was running for governor at the time, and trying to say, look, this is not acceptable. Let's not be politically correct. And of course, the media wanted to interview him and tell everybody, you know, apparently he was the victim, not us. He was the victim, the man. And some of the leaders in the state, they all ran to the tall grass because they didn't want to be accused of Islamophobia. Not to mention, I guess, the massive, massive amounts of Saudi money that flows into the state of South Dakota. But Steve, no. Steve stood up and said, this is not right, and began to make phone calls. And we sure appreciate Steve Haggard. That's how we became friends. Now, Steve has done several interviews with us, kind of warning us about Kristi and what she's doing. We've had many people from the state, including some state leaders in the legislature, warn us about her relationship with the CO2 pipeline people. I think one of those companies even sponsored her inauguration, some of her inauguration festivities. So we've kind of had major red flags with her for a while. I think she tried to take a lot of credit for COVID after the fact. That really was not the case at all. She was not being the patriot that she was trying to portray herself as, if I remember the interviews with Steve correctly, and that's why I want to bring him on. Steve, good news today, in my opinion. I tried to hold my tongue and be a team player, but I've not been a fan of her being in DHS, but I would try to be nice about it, and now I'm telling everybody how I feel. I'm very glad to hear the New York Post headline, Trump fires Kristi Noem. What are your thoughts today on this, Steve?
Well, I watched some of those interviews that she was involved in with the Senate, and she obviously wasn't prepared for anything. It was an adverse question, coming from Republicans at least, and I think that was just very telling. And you could tell that her responses weren't correct in response to especially Senator Kennedy, I think, and partly Senator Tillis. But Senator Kennedy was trying to be gracious with her, but when he walked her into the question about the $220 million worth of ad campaigns, she hedged on that, and I'm sure that was offensive to President Trump.
Well, that's even what Kennedy said. He's like, did President Trump approve this? Did President Trump approve this? And I think she's embarrassed the administration. That's my opinion. She's embarrassed the administration. And apparently, now again, I don't know if it's true. You have to tell me if you know, Steve, that one of these companies that supposedly was involved in the production of these commercials, taxpayer-funded commercials, the LLC was only set up a few days before production began. Is that true?
Well, that's what I understand too, and it was a connection to some of her former staff and current people she associates with. So that wasn't uncommon during her administration to favor people that were insiders. It's just, she campaigned on several pillars, which she referenced, and those were truth, trust, and transparency. And I recently gave a speech about that, not about her campaign, but about generally applying that as principles that you should apply in government service. And if you just be truthful and transparent, you can let the chips fall where they may. You don't have to try to shield people. If you've done the right things, stand by them and take the lumps if there's lumps to be had. But I think that's where she just got herself into trouble. She was trying to be too cute and too careful about avoiding those appearances of conflict, even though they existed. So would have been much better had she just stepped back and done her job. But she was, just as the senators were saying, using that to expand her brand, and that certainly didn't work out for her in this situation. I don't know if President Trump will find another place for her to land. But
well, he apparently has. He's announced. Yeah, he's announced that she's going to be going over to a new position that's being created. So we'll see how that works out. Did I lose him? Go ahead, Steve. Did I lose Steve? Did we lose?
Still there.
All right, Steve, can you hear me, Steve? Oh, I don't think you can hear me. All right, well, we'll try to reconnect with Steve.
Well,
I don't know what that's about. There he is. Now he's back.
Tom Homan was really the guy running.
I think we've got an internet connection. I think that's an internet connection. We're just try to reestablish with him if you could. While we do that, let me remind you, Crosstalk is coming up at top of the hour, 2 p.m. Central on the VCY America Radio Network. You can listen at vcy.org, vcy.org, on over 100 stations nationwide, America's original Christian talk program since the 1970s. With your host, Jim Schneider, Crosstalk. Again, if you're not on the terrestrial station and you want to say, you're saying to yourself, where is this? I don't have one of their terrestrial stations. Where can I hear him? He talks about this show. I want to hear it. Well, you can just go to vcy.org. VCY, V is in Victor, vcy.org. I've been working with VCY for 30 years this year, working with VCY America. So Crosstalk, 2 p.m. Central, 3 Eastern Standard. All right, we're trying to reconnect with Steve. We'll see if we can make that happen. I think it's internet on his side. Let's run back over to Aaron real quick. Aaron, we've only got about a minute left. Aaron, we got Steve back. All right, let's try Steve one more time. Steve, you back?
Yes.
Okay, Steve.
Yep.
So was she asked about Corey Landowski with her husband sitting right behind her?
Well, that's what I read. I didn't watch the entire interview, but I understood that. And I see that Brian has been there many times over the past weeks to show his support, and I hope that they have a good relationship. I hope things are going well for them. But he was there in the hearing room.
Mm-hmm. And real quick, the music's playing. John Thune, is he going to allow for the filibuster to be lifted so we can get this SAVE Act and other things done? Have you visited with him lately? Quick answer.
I haven't, but I expect that he's going to do what he needs to do to accomplish the president's agenda.
I hope so. Ken Paxton, I guess, is saying he will drop out of the race for U.S. Senate if Cornyn agrees to put the SAVE Act in place. All right, take care, guys.
This has been...
And we're back with WROS out of Jacksonville, Florida, and you here on Worldview Tube. Steve, do you have a web? You're still a state rep, right, Steve?
No, I'm not. I was speaker for those couple of years, then I was on appropriations. Right now, I'm just advising on some of the legislation.
Okay. Do you have a website or social media you want to promote?
Well, just if anyone wants to contact me, they can contact me at steve@howgardlaw.com.
Steve@howgardlaw.com. And his last name, folks, let me spell his last name. Hopefully, I have it in my phone right. H-A-U-G-A-A-R-D, right?
That's right. Thanks, Brandon.
Look at that. I got it right. No, thank you. And by the way, real quick, how are we doing with the CO2 pipelines?
Well, those are put off for now, but there's still a lot of pressure to get that done. And I'm expecting that's going to be a battle that's going to go on for the next 2 or 3 years.
Well, thank you for your fight on that, Steve. Thank you for all you do for South Dakota.
Yeah, absolutely.
Steve Haggard checking in. Let's run back real quick for the last 5 minutes back to Israel. Aaron Lavarco on the ground. Aaron, we're hearing that this is going to go on for 8 weeks. Then another report says it could go on until September. I don't know about that. I don't know if I believe that part, September. What are you hearing over there in Israel?
Yeah, I'm hearing all of the above plus more. I'm actually hearing it's not going to go on. Yeah, I'm hearing actually it's not going to go on so long. The progress, the speed of progress, and it all depends on how we define it. Because, it all started off with Iran. Now Hezbollah have joined in, and now we're hearing that the Houthis may join in. And who knows if Judea and Samaria, which really hasn't opened up, who knows? So it all depends on it. You know, if people are saying it could go on till September, yeah, I mean, what's going on up in the north is huge. It's absolutely massive. Now the Lebanese government are actually joining in, fighting against Hezbollah as well. And that's a major turn, because usually they don't do that, because they know that when things simmer down, Hezbollah will take revenge against them. This is a massive turn. This is almost like the Druze in Syria. That the Syrians know they don't touch the Druze, and if they do, Israel's got their back. And I think it's going to be the same with the South Lebanese army and the Lebanese government. This is radically huge what is happening. You know, it's so exciting, Brandon. Even though it's tough, it's tiring, it's scary at times, it is so exciting because we know that reform is coming, change is coming, and it's going to be for the best. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going in the right direction. And this is what gives everyone in the region hope. And hopefully those dark shadows of Iran that and their tentacles are going to be crushed, and things will change. And you know, from a spiritual point of view, I know that the scriptures say that there's going to be more darkness, more battles, but this could really open up the way for some kind of revival, some kind of spiritual revival, especially when Muslims see that their cause, their God, is not delivering. He's not defeating these little Jew boys, you know, who only have a tiny section. They're not winning. What's this? They're going to be asking questions. What's their secret? That's what they asked Samson. What's the secret of your strength? Well, hopefully they'll seek and they will find.
By the way, before we run out of time, Tucker Carlson, I guess he's back at it. And Tucker, I guess, is growing in popularity with the Muslims. Here's a clip. Here's a clip I found today. Listen to this, guys. Well, I guess I should plug it in, or Logan? I don't know. I don't know. Let me just put my microphone down there. Here we go.
Tucker Carlson a lot in previous episodes. And
making some noise.
Yeah, you know what? I think he's an important person. We've got to follow him. Umar ibn Khattab. Now today, we know media is a powerful place, man. Right? If you win the media war, media.
Yeah.
Right? As in, if we took a victory from this, if there's anything for us to say we did this time with Allah's precious tawfiq, it's media.
Yeah.
I'm saying this guy is, in my opinion, the strongest guy in the media right now.
I mean, yeah, his millions of views. Anytime he posts anything, I always monitor, like, it's just the views are
It's not
crazy.
just that. This guy has got very strong footing and following, and he's got voice
in the right way.
in the USA,
Yeah.
in the UK, and
Wow. So the Muslims want you to follow Tucker Carlson. That pretty much tells you everything. A man is known by his friends. Aaron Lavarco, on the ground in Israel, lighttothenationsministry.com, lighttothenationsministry.com. We make regular love offerings to him so he can be our reporter, our eyes and our ears on the ground. Worldviewfoundation.com. We do need your support, folks. We are a listener-supported network. Worldviewfoundation.com. May God save America and protect Israel. Take care.